Hey everybody, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me today. I'm here with a new layout for the Hip Kit Club, and this is my first layout using the brand new 2018 May kits. I just got them a few days ago, and so I could not wait to tear into them and create a page. So I picked out a couple pages that jumped out at me right away. I want to use this paper as my background, along with some of the Vicki Boutin acrylic paints that we get in the color kit this month. And that white paper with the little plus signs with the black and white stripes at the bottom, that is from Pink Fresh Studio, A Case of the Blahs. And it's a perfect pattern paper, I guess you could say. It's not too patterned, but it's neutral, and it's perfect for a background. And so that's where I'm going to start. And my theme for today is circles. And so I love when we get these little themes to sort of jumpstart our ideas and just run with it, whatever kind of comes to your mind with circles. And circles are one of my favorite things to work with. And so I'm going to create a circle background to start. I'm using some white gesso there just to coat the white cardstock or the white pattern paper so it can withstand everything I'm going to do to it. Now these are the stamps that we get in the color kit. They're gorgeous. I love them. They're Vicki Boutin, and they also come with some circle dies, and I'm going to use those later in the month on another layout. This here is a very well loved homemade stencil that I created on some black cardstock, gosh, 4 years ago, a long time ago, and I've used it several times, and it's just random circles in different sizes all over a 12 by 12 paper, and you'll see here how I'm going to use it. So if you don't have a lot of stencils, but you do have a Cameo or a Cricut, then you can create your own stencils. And so this is a fun and easy way to get some circles on your background. I'm just going to use my ink blending tool there with the little foam Velcro circle on the end to smudge and dab some of the paint. I'm not adding anything to it. I'm not watering it down. I'm just getting a little bit of paint on the in there, and then kind of just lightly smudging it and then kind of squishing it down to get some more paint off of it. And this is really easy to do. I think this is a fun technique to get lots of color, and you know, you could do this with gelatos, you could do this with ink sprays. So yeah, any type of media or medium that you have. And so in the Vicki Boutin paints here in the color kit, you get the green, which is so pretty. It's called Juicy Pear, and the blue color is called Blue Hawaiian. The light pink is called Coral Macaroon, and the darker pink is Sugared Strawberry. And the colors are so bright, so summery. I absolutely love them. And so I'm just kind of trying to spread the colors around and the different sizes of the circles, and that's how I'm going to start, and we'll see what happens as I go. But this dries really fast because I'm not using a really thick coat of the paint. I'm lightly smudging it on, and yeah, I don't have to wait very long at all for it to dry. So my first thought was to have all the circles on the left hand side like that. And then I turned it to where the circles were on the top, and I kind of think I might like that better. But I kind of go back and forth before finally deciding on which direction. Now, I wanted to add some teeny tiny circles. Now, if you have been a member of the Kit Club for a while, then you probably have this stencil. I think we got this in a Christmas kit 2 years ago. It's been a while, but this is definitely a Hip Kit Club stencil, an exclusive stencil. And I love how all those tiny circles are really close together, and then they kind of spread out. And so that's kind of the look I'm going for. I want them all kind of condensed close together and then kind of spread out as they go further to the right. And I'm having to press a little bit harder to get the paint in those teeny tiny openings, but it works really, really well. And I love the effect of these little circles. They just look like little pieces of confetti, and yeah, I love that. This is just another reason that I highly recommend the color kit. Look how cool that turned out. I love that, because the color kits last you a very long time. Now here I did add a little bit of water to make it really, really loose so I could splatter it with my brush, just the green. And so that's something else that you could do with these paints. And now it's all dry, and I think it's so pretty. I love how that turned out. And I do wind up turning it this way. I don't know, I like it better this way. And I had kind of a different idea once I turned it this way. Now here is where I'm going to just stamp directly onto the background. I'm going to use a couple of the stamps. These are perfect for backgrounds, and they stamp beautifully. Even though I used the gesso, they stamped really, really well. And I'm using some black archival ink, so if I add any other liquid or water to my background, it's not going to make it run. Now that stamp is probably my favorite. It looks like a firework. This would be perfect for a 4th of July type of layout. That was me going, ooh. I was excited because I love how that looks. I think it's really, really cool, and I love the pops of black. So I'm going to add some black splatters before I go on, and this is not in the color kit. This is from my stash. It's just Shimmer's Night Moves. It's your standard black ink spray, and I keep it close by because black splatters are a frequent thing, so I keep that right up close to me. So now I'm going to start to work on everything else. I picked out a couple of Project Life cards and a couple of the Pink Fresh Studio die cuts. This is another 12 by 12 paper. It's one of the Heidi Swap papers, and I'm going to just punch a couple circles out here. I want to echo the black and white that I've got going on, so I'm going to just use a couple of those that I punched. And then I'm going to use 2 cute pictures of Paige, and she's sitting on one of the benches out on our patio, and she was just looking cute. And she was in the picture on the right, her hand is really close to my camera because she was reaching out to me, and I love how that picture turned out. I think it's cute. And the one on the left, she's just got her eyes closed, or maybe they're open, maybe they're halfway closed, but she had her head turned to the side, and she was just laughing and being silly, and it's just a perfect capture of her and how she normally is. I thought it was cute. So I'm going to use the Project Life cards that match perfectly with the paint as layers. And I cut them down and tore the edges a little bit. And then this one I'm going to tear in half and use on the sides. And it's just a plain white card with teeny tiny black plus signs on it. And then I'm going to add some tissue paper behind my pictures just to add a little bit of a border that's kind of see-through and subtle and kind of crooked, but that's the way I like it. So I'm going to add that and then rough up the edges a little bit with my edge distressor. And that's where my pictures are going to go. And I really didn't want to cover up the background. I didn't want to cover up any of those circles. Anywhere I put the pictures, I was like, no, I don't want to cover that up. No, I don't want to cover that up. But I finally had to just say, you know, you have to cover some parts of it up. But I'm going to add in a couple more circles to make up for that because I felt like it covered up too much of the pink. And sometimes that's the sad part about making a background like this, is some of it's going to get covered up. And yeah, so I kind of adjusted. So I'm going to go back with my stencil and just add a few more circles down underneath the pictures. And so I'm still going to get a good amount of all those colorful circles around there. So I think that looks better. And I wanted to do some messy stitching, and so I wanted to do kind of an outline of black stitching around the pictures, and so I just lightly drew some messy lines around with the pencil, and then there you can see where I just did some black stitching around where the photos, just to kind of make sort of a stitched frame, I guess you would say. And here I am, before I glue everything down, adding in some thread. I added some of the lime green over on the right, and then some black thread over on the left. And I really like how this is looking. I really like the fact that the pictures are black and white. I think they really pop against those bright circles. This is the Amy Tangerine, I can't remember the name of the collection, her newest one that's out right now. It's the sticker book, and there are all these really cute clear stickers. And I just thought that looked good right there. It said, "You made my day." And I'm going to use that. But of course, I stuck it down crooked, so I want to make sure it was straight. And it's like black little skinny lines, and so it's kind of it looks really cool on white cardstock. I'm going to use the Good Vibes chipboard from the Simple Stories chipboard sheet that we get, mainly because it was the perfect size, it was the perfect color, and it was the perfect sentiment for this. I didn't really have to do a lot of thinking about what kind of title I wanted to use, because these pictures were actually taken the day before Hurricane Irma came through. The weather was starting to pick up, but it was still nice and cool and breezy enough to go outside, and so we were just kind of enjoying the outside while we could. And so yeah, she looks like she was trying to send good vibes our way. So I thought, yeah, we're just going to use that. And then that's a little piece. We get a little packet of teeny tiny die cuts from Pretty Little Studio, so I pulled out a couple of those, and they also match perfectly. I'm telling you, Kimberly does such a great job of matching up things that just coordinate so well together. All the colors, this came together really easily because everything just matched perfectly. Now I did want to add a little bit to the bottom. I'm going to cut a strip of that Heidi Swap black and white striped paper, and then I'm going to use just a little crooked tear of washi tape. It feels like forever since I've used washi tape. And that roll is from Simple Stories Carpe Diem. And then I'm going to use a couple of the scraps from the Project Life cards that I used behind the pictures, just to add pops of blue and pink at the bottom. And then to pull in some green, I'm going to use some tangled thread. And it's just going to create this little cluster of color down at the bottom, just to kind of bring all of those colors to that area, so it's not just solid white. And then I am going to wind up stitching through that with some black thread, just to give it some more texture and to make sure it's going to stay there. And I did there you can see the stitching. And I also did some messy back and forth stitching through those circles on the layout. I think I'm getting close to being finished. I'm going to add my journaling. This is the perfect spot for it, I felt like, since the layout kind of goes from wide, kind of goes down to like a funnel shape down toward the photos, the good vibes, and then I'm going to kind of make it come to the point down at the bottom with the journaling. And then I'm going to add the date and a couple more black ink splatters, and then that's going to wrap it up. This came together actually pretty quickly for me because I'm a very slow scrapper. So once I had the paint down and the circles, I love how this turned out. I really like the pops of black. I love how everything in the kit just made this come together really, really quickly and easily. So I hope you were inspired. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it gives you some fun ideas. This layout is going to be on the Hip Kit Facebook page today. So I hope you go and check that out. Let me know if you have any questions about the kits or the techniques or anything at all. And I want to wish you guys a wonderful week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.